Welcome to this week's Movie Math, giving you an in-depth analysis of the box office for the weekend of March 30th, as The Hunger Games continue to dominate in the Hollywood arena. While it did drop 60% in its second weekend, that's perfectly normal for a blockbuster. And besides, the real headline is that in just 10 days, it's crossed the 250 million mark stateside. That already puts it at number 65 of the all-time highest-grossing films in the U.S., ahead of films like Men in Black, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Toy Story 2, and last summer's Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. At this rate, The Hunger Games will have no problem outgrossing all four Twilight films, proving to many that there is some justice in the world. But globally, The Hunger Games is up to only 364 million, which puts it at just number 178. Turns out it's mostly an American phenomenon, as this weekend's new release Wrath of the Titans had no problem beating The Hunger Games in many foreign territories, for a total of 78 million. But while Sam Worthington might have been victorious on screen and across the globe, here in the US he got a major beatdown at the box office. While Clash of the Titans opened with 61 million, its sequel Wrath of the Titans did just about half that. It's never a good sign for a franchise's box office performance to go in the opposite direction of its budget. Maybe, though, Wrath of the Titans will sport some nice legs under its toga in the coming weeks. You'd think so, considering that it features a man fighting a volcano monster while riding on a winged horse holding a lightning bolt all in 3D. Too bad the story as to how the man got to that point is underwhelming, with audiences giving the film a 7.5 here on BTT and a B+ on CinemaScore. Looks like Hollywood's inner struggle of special effects versus story still rages on, which is weird considering that a good story is relatively cheap in comparison to a bill from Industrial Light and Magic. That is, of course, once one actually makes the effort to hire a talented writer rather than a friend of a friend. Nepotism and elitism have brought you nothing but ruin, Hollywood. Just how much do video games and television need to embarrass you before you realize the error in your ways? The other big movie that opened this weekend was Mirror Mirror, with a disappointing 19 million, further proving that Julia Roberts hasn't been the fairest of the box office for a while. Yes, arguably the biggest female star of all time, Roberts hasn't starred in a hit film since Erin Brockovich 12 years ago. Now, while many will probably use this as an example of ageism and sexism in Hollywood, I think both Meryl Streep's recent hot streak and Roberts' poor taste in projects disproves that. Yeah, I sat through both Duplicity and Eat, Pray, Love, films that were so bad they actually made me angry. This is also somewhat embarrassing for Armie Hammer, who has yet to live up to the potential I'm sure his agents have been promising. Yet his team has already used the hype of Mirror Mirror to land him a bigger gig, that of The Lone Ranger alongside Johnny Depp's Tonto. If that film flops, though, well, that might be all she wrote for Hammer. As for Lily Collins, many people are wondering why she's even working in Hollywood, since she doesn't have a positive review to her name. And then they remember that name is shared by Dad, Phil Collins. Damn nepotism. As for the rest of the box office, John Carter continued its freefall, once again sporting the biggest drop in the top 10. But there was one other bit of good news besides The Hunger Games, as salmon fishing in the Yemen lived up to its name and swam upstream at the box office, expanding to just under 500 theaters, which resulted in an 81% increase. But with a 2,600 per screen average, don't expect the film to swim much further. As for this coming weekend, Hollywood is expecting a film to finally best The Hunger Games, but that film is over a decade old. Yes, Titanic sets sail once again for the 100th anniversary of the tragic event, and is hoping to chart the same waters that Disney has with its 3D re-releases of The Lion King and Beauty and the Beast. Look for The Hunger Games: An American Reunion to duke it out for second place. And that's the weekend box office. I'm Grace Randolph, and we just did some movie math. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope you'll go beyond the trailer for these other top movies.